Welcome back to another fantastic episode of Our Corner. I'm your host, Aaron. With me today is the amazing Fred. Fred, how you doing today, man?
Not too bad, Aaron. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming in. We love having you. So, Fred, big question, man. What projects are you working on currently on the tabletop community?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing we're dealing with right now is still the West Marches campaign over at Silver Dragon Gaming. I mean, being that it's such a wide open campaign and we've got somewhere between 60 and 80 players, 10 to 12 different DMs going, and a massive epic on the 14th of March, guys. Come on out, 3 to 11 p.m.
Oh, my God. So can you spill any details on the epic, or are you on that NDA?
You know, if I spill too much on that one, I got a feeling Luis will probably come through the door right now and slit my throat.
You know what? We've locked the door. Tyler, did we lock the door?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So you don't have to say
So
anything.
you're safe.
But
You're safe with us.
Well, I would say when it comes down to it in the long run here, there is going to be a massive reveal about the center island and everything that's going to be coming with it. And if you miss out on this one, hey, that's your ass, not ours.
don't miss out. That's the key point here. Don't miss out. Show the fuck up. Okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, they're going to have all kinds of different things going on. I mean, to be fair, you can stop by Silver Dragon as well, too, and purchase some dice, books. This is not a plug because I'm getting paid. It's a plug because I really don't have a choice.
Yeah. They've got you. They've got you. They're like, no.
I want to keep that guild GM status.
They're gonna come through. We didn't hear you mention it at the last podcast, my dude. What's going on?
It's like, well, I took care of it in the first 5 minutes like any good guy would.
Like any good, yeah. There they just take you out back, get you Goodfellas style.
Oh, sometimes, hey, let me do this for you. Not because you want to, because I'm telling you to. Oh, I'm starting to sound like Scott now.
Oh, my dude.
You know I love you, man.
So you have been running with the West March campaign. Let me ask you, what pulled you into that? Like, just what pulled you into working with multiple DMs on like a massive world building and a campaign?
Well, the first person that pulled me in was Mike, and he didn't give any choice on that one. But you need to get on the show at some point. But with all that coming around, to be fair, it was the idea of knowing that they somehow were able to weaponize a one-shot for me and actually turn it into progression. I'm a progression-based gamer, whether it be video games, TTRPGs, and anything in between. And when that happened, they found a way to say, hey, well, we're going to be progressing by using not only these one-shots, but we're doing so in an open environment where there's going to be massive amounts of different players. So you're not going to be segregated to one small table of 6 players you're playing with over and over again in someone's mom's basement, for the better part of 2 or 3 years. So by drawing in with me, to me on that side of things, it was just, they had me at pretty much hello.
Yeah.
But sometimes a little grab and tickle helps too.
Yeah, a little grab and tickle. Get yourself a little handful under the table. It's all good.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. That's what we call a natural crit.
Natural crit. You brought up something that kind of grabbed me here when you said progressive gamer, right? What is a progressive gamer?
So progressive gamer from my perspective is just basically someone that it's got to be moving naturally from one step to the other, whether it's leveling, whether it's, rebuilding a team, whether it's getting new skins and items, things of that nature there, Aaron.
Okay, cool. So, that's a pretty good base here. So when you're looking at like progressive gaming here, what would you say that Okay, so when we're talking about progressive gaming, right? What is the smoothest game you've ever played?
Honestly, NCAA football.
Really?
So I'm one of the people that loves the dynasty modes and the such. So you're going to be able to go from year to year, recruiting new players, changing up the game. Most people that, they see it that aren't sports fans look at this, oh, well, all they did was just change the names and the stats. Well, to be fair, what are you doing at a TTRPG? You're changing the names and the stats, giving a different flavor to the actual player possibly. But with that as well, it gives me that opportunity to play it over and over and over again. The first one that I just got my hold of since they discontinued it in 2014, brought it back last year. I played 30 seasons, and at some point, it killed me. It said, oh, by the way, you can't go any further now. So after 30 seasons, you're done. So Before I did anything else, I had a lot of time on my hands being retired.
Yeah, that's incredible because when and just out of the blue here, like when you think of like tabletop RPGs, you think of like gaming, not a lot of fans will be like, hey, sports games are the epitome of that kind of deal because you see the change in stats, there's different playability styles, there's tons of it. And so that's just an incredible way to kind of say, hey, not only is this applied to what we know as RPGs, but it spreads out through everything.
Oh, right. I mean, to be fair, it's like every player on the team is getting an ASI after every season. So it's a matter of whether they're going up, they're going down, things of that nature, bud.
Yeah, and I can imagine because it'd be the exact same as like the kill death ratio every time you play Call of Duty.
Oh my!
I won't even start because I know that a lot of the Call of Duty chats were not fun.
Oh, well, when it comes down to it in the long run here, I mean, I'm an analytical guy, so I understand the kill to death ratio. I mean, because if you're going to be any good at something, it better not be 1-to-1.
Yeah, you better not be 1-to-1. You always had that guy that was like he was like, yeah, I've got 3 kills. It's like, but you got like 29 deaths, my dude. What did you really do for us?
Oh my goodness. Don't get me
in the room.
Oh, Ty, is there a problem we need to know about?
Okay.
We need
all
to
that
send you to
matters
rehab
is that
on
you
this
showed up. All right.
That's not all that matters, actually. I just want to let you know whoever told you that lied to you.
That goes right into the other game I love to play too, Marvel Rivals. Don't get me going on that.
You know what? Now I've got to get you going. What's up with Marvel Rivals?
Oh, Marvel Rivals is absolutely amazing. It's basically a bastardized version of Fortnite and Overwatch together. But when you have the person that, they have a Lord level character, and that's basically the highest level you can attain at this point, although they've done some little subclasses and things of that nature with recent updates. But don't get me going when somebody puts a Lord level character on. They're like, oh, well, you know what? I don't want to deal with my 4-year-old, so I'm going to go ahead and just hand them the controller. And then you watch some idiot Storm spinning around in 360s like they're in a strip club.
Yeah, that's got to be absolutely frustrating because you're like, hey, we might have someone that's actually pretty decent. Nope, we've got ourselves a Forrest Gump.
Yep, no doubt about it. And then you wonder why you see that person later on some crime drama show. It's like, oh, yeah, well, it's because you weren't watching your kids, and you wonder why they threw the controller out. And then, something bad may have happened after the fact.
Right.
It is, and I can get a little bit deep into it. I'm a slight bit competitive, just a little bit.
Just a little, just where it counts. And
oh yeah, absolutely. Gaming, marriage, things of that nature.
It's so fun. It's so hilarious because I am extremely competitive to the point where I told I've had my friends be like, hey, you can't play online anymore because you start like yelling. I'm like, yes. I was like, how many stupid people jump in the way while you're shooting? I was like, you see the line of fire, but you decided that you wanted to jump in there anyways. Of course they got us all killed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that comes down to it, too. I mean, that's when you stupid is as stupid does.
Right.
You can't fix it. I mean, my wife, don't get me going on this one. Like, one of the best stories we ever had when we first started going out, we ended up playing drunk Wii against each other.
Oh, no.
Needless to say, she'll tell you a different story, but I carried her in Wii tennis for hours on end.
Dude, the Wii Sports were insane. I remember that you could always find a way to cheat on the bowling if you just kind of like twisted at the swing.
It's funny you say that. My dad came out one time, avid bowler, and he would just call it every time strike. He never picked up a Wii in his life, but every single time this guy's dropping strikes. Now, it might have helped. He was making us some sex on the beaches. There were a lot more sex and a lot less beaches. And we were just done. But I still remember, you can look at, like I said, my wife would tell me too, and she'll make a comment on this at some point too. She'll be like, strike every time. And we're just like, what the?
And like the weird part is that there was some Wii Sports that I just like, they started to come up with the resort sports, the ones where you did like archery. Oh my God, those ones were fucking terrible. I absolutely could not get a grip on that.
So my favorite one was we had our daughter, and our daughter was this little thing. So she would go ahead, we'd go boxing, and she would just basically have a seizure, throwing her hands back and forth, and she beat everybody's ass. Yeah. And it was just like, come on, I'm like trying to go ahead and be like, I'm dip and dodge, I'm hooking, I'm trying to be Muhammad Ali. And basically I was Muhammad Splat because I was on the ground every time when this girl just picked it up. And she'd just be like talking to people like, yeah, I did my homework, Mom.
just
ridiculous.
just wrecking house. That's
Yep. I mean, we even did that Marvel versus Capcom, one of my favorite competitive games of all time. She would literally use, and I can't remember, it was like a Zura or something. It was one of the anime dogs. And she would just sit there and just run her hand over the buttons. And she'd be damn near impossible to beat. And you got me tactical, like, I'm going to smack you out.
you're over here like, I've got this 3-hit combo that I
Yep.
prep for the next section. I've got these 3 guys who work in tandem, one after the other.
Yeah.
I just, you know what? My nephew did that on Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. He picked Ghost Rider and he did that fucking chain thing
Over and over?
over and over. And every time I would like try to get as close as possible, but that hitbox is ridiculous.
So you know, like that moment, like, and again, I know you're not married yet, but when you have that point, I know Ty understands this when in-laws show up and you got that groan. That's what the family did every time I picked Super Scroll. I'm like, okay, you guys are pissing me off now. And they'd be like, oh, because they knew they were about to get their asses kicked.
I 100% was like, I tried different characters. I think one of my all-time favorites has always been Ryu from Street Fighter. I know that's terrible. I know that there's a lot of Ryu mains. I just was like,
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm with you 1,000%. When I was running Street Fighter 2 back in the day, I still remember putting my quarters up on the arcade.
oh yeah.
It was Ryu, it was Sagat, and it was Balrog. And I loved when people would see me pick Balrog and they're like, I'm going to kick you. It's like, all right, let's play. Let's play.
Man, Balrog was one of the hardest characters to get down.
Yeah, but once you got him down, he was ridiculous. You just had to get those charging mechanics squared away. And
Dude, that was
I loved it.
That was it. That was the hardest thing for me to do was the charging mechanics. And once I got a handful of those down, I still stay away from Balrog when I see him. I'm like, oh no. And then Balrog mains are the same thing. Every time I see someone who uses it, I'm like, I fucking lost this one, man.
And it's because it's an absolute pain. Either you're amazing with him or you absolutely suck. There's no in between. It's kind of like, you know, Mike Tyson's sex life. I mean, because he was never made against Mike Tyson in any way, shape, or form. Not at all.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, if they had just put him in a prison outfit, it'd been perfect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right there. Ear hanging from his mouth and everything.
Oh my goodness gracious. You're making a Holyfield kind of day for me.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I'll never forget that moment. That was one of those times where you're just like, really? I mean, you know, it could have gotten just as bad too. I mean, you know, Tyson had such an amazing fight on Netflix recently as well, right? I mean, you know, Jake Paul just normally picks old guys to fight.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god, don't get me started. You know what? I hate Jake Paul. I can't stand him, and I don't know what it is. Like, he's not done anything to A, me personally, or B, really anybody else. He's just kind of douchey, and I don't really like that. I'm like,
I'll tell you what, he has turned himself into a multimillionaire by doing so. So
yeah, he's not an idiot. I'm not going to sit there and be like, he's dumb as rocks. I'm not a millionaire. So.
Yeah, that is fair. That is fair. You know what? But that's why we get to spend these moments on these podcasts talking about these things because, hey, they put themselves in the limelight.
Right. Absolutely. You know what? That does remind me, speaking of that, in the gaming community, the limelight, the whole spiel. You remember that guy that got famous from playing Tetris?
I'm not familiar with, but I'm familiar with the game.
It was just recently. I think we even did a review on it. There was a kid who actually like beat Tetris to the point where like it crashed the game.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could do that.
The guy, he was so good at it that he kept going and he finally beat it. And the news anchor that covered the story was like such a prick to him and like talk some shit. And everybody's like, well, you've never fucking beaten Tetris. Like, what have you done? He's literally won.
Man, I'll tell you what, you wish you'd stacked him 4x4 and knocked that guy off the plane, right?
Mm-hmm, right off.
That's just crazy, man. That is crazy. I do remember having it on the old Game Boy. See, the hair would give it away, but I had the old black and white Game Boy first edition that all it did was come with Tetris. So you didn't have a choice until you could actually afford to buy another game. And I came from humble beginnings, so affording another game might mean next Christmas.
Yeah. I remember that. Oh man, there was never a Christmas where I got video games and I was like, oh shit. And then finally, I think there was one when I was 11. I got like a Game Boy Advance after the Game Boy Advance craze was over.
Right.
And I was like, okay, but now I have Mario 3. So, you know, that was.
And I was, same thing. It was about 2 to 2.5 years after the actual kick would be for the pop culture side of it. Like I remember the NES coming out where you'd get, you know, the action pack with like the robot, or I think it was Rob or something along those lines, and Gyromite. And Yeah, about 2 years later, I'd get a hold of one.
Oh my god!
And I'd be the idiot blowing in the cartridges while somebody else is running a Sega Genesis.
Oh, dude, and you know the fucking craziest thing. So my older brother, he had all of the systems. So he had like the Nintendo, he had the Sega Genesis,
Nice.
he had the Super Nintendo. So like as we were growing up, we would go to his room and we were allowed to watch him play.
Allowed.
Allowed.
I like that.
We were allowed to watch him play. And then when we weren't allowed to watch him play, he'd kick us out. So,
well, maybe he was doing a different kind of playing at that point.
you know what? I don't want to think about this.
It comes and goes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem.
But you know, when you say the older systems too, I still remember going to a store back in New York named Babbage's. And they had, if you remember, the Neo Geo. It was the amazingly priced console. Everything was like, I think it was like 32-bit at that point, but no one could afford it. So like you would walk past the window and you'd see it being played and you're like, you know damn well, you're like, this is never happening. My parents would have to take a second mortgage out on our house to go ahead and buy this for me.
Dude, it was it was so insane. And when you look at the prices for the systems then compared to now, it's like, that's easily like I would buy a Nintendo at that price. Like,
right. I mean, and you look at the Neo Geo. I mean, back then it was like $500 or $600. Well, that's what we're paying for our PS5s now.
dude,
Man, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. But the only people that had it were those kids that you just wanted to slap down anyway. You'd be like, you want to come over to my house and play Neo Geo? It's like, oh, no, but I want to come over to your house and check out your mom.
yeah.
Whoops, I say that out loud.
It's true. We had friends that were like that.
Oh, my goodness. We had moms that were like that.
My favorite was, you ever see that meme where it's like where it's talking about the moms from Christmas and it's Tyler, what was his name from Lethal Weapon, the anti-Semitic guy?
I don't know.
Are you talking about
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson,
yeah.
Oh,
Mel
well,
Gibson, and it had like the
that's
80s
a
Mel
lot of
Gibson
guys.
hair.
Well, Christ, why didn't we remember that?
I don't know, man. I was
Passion of?
Yeah, the long hair anti-Semite played Jesus.
Yeah, something like that.
He
Something
did
like
something.
that.
Play Jesus.
It's all right. It's
What's
all right.
that?
He directed Jesus. He didn't play Jesus.
Well,
Okay.
You know, I mean, he was probably directing how to play Jesus. We can figure this out, Ty.
Yeah.
Same difference.
At some point, it's just so the meme is that he's got the wild ass like hair, cigarette, and everything like that, and it's all talking about how moms used to look at you on Christmas. It was always the fucking wild hair, cigarette in the hand.
Yeah, and it was never going to be the one that mom didn't want you either. They might have thought they did. You have that guy that thinks that the smooth G money and they're more like meth daddy.
Yeah,
It's just like, no, it's not happening. It's not happening.
it makes me cringe. Oh, meth daddy. Ah.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. And there's nothing worse than you have that one. Like, they're like, oh, yeah, she is pretty hot. Things are great. And then they smile, and you're like, oh, what just happened there?
She can make keys.
It's fucking wild. What did you just roll out of bed and eat rocks? Like, what happened?
Oh, my
She
goodness.
might have been better off if she ate rocks.
It's just, you're just over here like, dude, you're fucking.
Ate them, smoked them, something like that.
You did something. It was something rock related.
Oh, no doubt about
You're
it.
not a geologist, so.
Hey, you know what? I mean, if she would just stop everything and just pay to get those tooth extractions, let me tell you, gumming for money. Hey, you told me I could get away with this. This is not good. Baby, I love you. Remember, I apologize. Aaron said it was okay.
I did. I gave express permission. I said, anything unhinged, throw it on.
Oh, my God. Throw it on, throw it up, lick it off, something like that.
Do I have to pay extra for the lick it off part? Or?
Well, that all depends if we're going to go ahead and have some varsity blues first. Oh, Allie Larder. Let me
Oh,
tell ya.
our tech guy's done. He's over
So we're going to need 5 minutes now, guys.
He's going to have to compose himself. We'll be right back after these messages.
Absolutely, and put a cherry on top.
You know, it's so funny because my first love was video games right before my uncle introduced me to D&D. And I can't think of anything that like really translates better to video games than like D&D. I think it set the base point for a lot of the stuff that we do. My big question for you is like, what came first? Was it like D&D, or were you like an avid gamer?
You know, I have to say it started with gaming, and then I played a little bit of D&D when I was, mid-teens, but I kind of got away from it at AD&D, and my wife and I were just looking for something to do together, and so I ended up in Silver Dragon Games trying to look for Christmas presents for her. Found a Nightmare Before Christmas operation, still love that, and I just saw about the new player workshop that they had, and it was one of those moments. It's like, you know what? We started watching Stranger Things again. It's something that interested us. We were even watching Vox Machina on Amazon Prime. We didn't realize it was D&D related until people started telling us at the store. So we went through the new player workshop. We were lucky enough to have Mike as our DM, believe it or not. You almost killed my paladin first try, Mike. Come on, man.
That's not cool, Mike.
Yeah, no. I mean, I did take the op attack to try to do something maybe a little crazy. I mean, they don't call me the goblin enthusiast for nothing.
Oh, no.
But as that came back around, we just realized how much we really still loved it. But a lot of the community we're seeing now, it's almost like what you just said. It lined up video games back into D&D because Baldur's Gate 3 is so huge now.
Right.
You find a lot of people, especially coming to our campaign on West March, they'll dig in all the time, and they'll be looking for that Baldur's Gate 3 experience at the tabletop. And we do our best to give it to them. But look, I mean, if you die there's no save point. Deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think another thing that goes with that are the same people who look at DMs like, well, that's not what Matt Mercer would do. It's like, we're not Matt Mercer. Yeah. This isn't Vox Machina. This isn't the Mighty Nine. This is Dungeons and Dragons.
And my favorite one is when you get the rules lawyer that comes with it as well, too. It's like, look, you know what? So there's rule of school and rule of cool. But there is a point where they did an amazing job, and all the DMGs said, this is a guide. This is basically not the Bible. We're not going back to Gibson there, Ty. That basically this is not the Bible here. So you know what? You can know every last little bit about what this says, but the DM is going to have overarching authority to go ahead and make this game the best it can be. And if you're going to be somebody just complaining the whole time about it, why don't you go find another table of complainers and just let us move forward with the story?
Dude, that's exactly what I 100% agree with you. Like, there is a point where you have to look at it and goes, does this particular rule fit into in my campaign, in my game, whatever? And you just go, you're either like, yes, it does, or no, get the fuck out of here.
So one of my favorite ones is there's so many people that don't understand if, somebody's within 5 feet of you, your ranged attacks are going to be a disadvantage. Doesn't matter if it's spell, doesn't matter if it's melee, you're just going to be at disadvantage. So I'm the guy that normally points that out. And then they're like, oh, well, we haven't done that at other tables. It's like, well, just think about it honestly for a second. If you're getting ready to aim down a bow at somebody that's 90 feet away from you, and you've got this big orc swinging an axe at you at the same time, do you really think you're going to be focused completely on what's going on there?
Right. It's one of those things we bring up because we talk along the lines of like cinematic combat. When we explain what the scenario is, like, we're giving you the detail of what's happening as you're doing something. This isn't Final Fantasy. While it is turn-based, you have to imagine that your actions on the gaming table impact other actions as they're happening around you. It's all going off at the same time.
So true. So true.
So combat should feel like you're in a combat zone. If you're fighting, 5 or 6 orcs, it should feel like everybody's fighting 5 or 6 orcs, and it's not just the one person doing one thing at a time.
Oh, yeah, and I'm with you 1,000%. And there's nothing better than explaining and then putting out the situation where they're feeling it in their imagination as well, too. They can see what's happening. Like, if I'm going to ask you, how do you do this? And you're like, I just stab them with my sword. It's like, that's not good enough, buddy.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to do that, then I'm going to be the DM afterwards, and I'm going to add a little flavor on the back side of it. And when you eviscerate them and everything falls on the ground, by the way, the entrails burn a hole into hell. We'll see you next session.
I love that because it kind of pulls the player to be more creative. It puts the responsibility on them because, as a dungeon master, like, we have to deal with a lot. It's only fair to have you explain what your character's doing.
Right. And the other, continue. Please.
No,
Sorry,
go ahead. No.
But tagging right onto that, it's not just responsibility. It's like sometimes you've got to get them out of their shell. You might have that introvert at the table. It just doesn't feel comfortable yet. But when they have that one cool moment, and all of a sudden it's like, you can just watch everything unlock. Next thing you know, they start role-playing their character. They're asking how they're going to marry up specific things to have tag team combos. It's a beautiful thing. But when you have that one introverted player in the corner that doesn't work with everyone else, it's our job as a DM to pull them in.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I absolutely agree with you. Do you mind, do you have like an example, like a real life scenario where that's happened?
You know what? There's been plenty in West March. There's no doubt about that because we have so many different players that are, resident within the campaign. There's everything from extroverts to introverts, people that want to be the type A spotlight character, people that are just happy going around and laying lots of damage out. But we've run into multiple characters. Let me think here. I would say that there are some that we've dealt with where when you have someone that can be a bit of a rules lawyer at the table, it will take down someone else. So sometimes the easiest way is to take that rules lawyer, and then as you feel the vibe of the table going down, you can take that ruling, change it into something super cool, and then all of a sudden maybe we had a player recently that's just joined West March where Luis was DMing for them, and they were able to shoot one of their crossbow bolts. And because he crit, he let it go ahead and ricochet to 3 other people. And at that point, that individual, you could see everything changed in their mindset of the game. And they were like, oh, now I'm vested in this. And something they were building their character towards before changed completely different just because that crossbow bolt happened. Next thing, now the guy wants to be a crossbow expert and wants to move forward with all of those moments. And those are those beautiful times where we get to take a look and go, and that's why we do this.
That's incredible because so when we kind of talk, we focus more on like horror stories because you go through the trenches of horror stories and there's some like mucky fucking people out there that are just like, I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to talk to you. If I saw you on the street, I'd probably pretend I don't know you.
That's fair.
But like when you don't get that vibe from a lot of the DMs that I've met, over at the Silver Dragon and B, just kind of in general, nobody starts off with that real intent of doing that. And to see those moments where you have someone who's a rules lawyer, it always ends up in either like a really toxic situation or they change completely. There's never like an in between. And from your example is that you're able to get them to that point where it's not a bringing down scenario.
Right. And you want to find stakes in the game. Like, I mean, to be fair, like within the West March community, I'm probably known as the crunchy combat guy because I'm not big on puzzles. I'm going to give you role play and I'm going to give you combat and we're going to have fun as we go along with it. But if I just lob a softball to you every time, that's not going to do any good. I mean, so you're going to come in, you're going to win the game. We're going to mess around, tell a story for 4 hours, high five and leave. But if I can put you in a position where you're genuinely worried about your character, when you win, the juice becomes worth the squeeze.
Right, and that's a huge style of play. It's obviously something that's not for everyone because there's a lot of people and there's a lot of new players that I know now that come in and they just want to do the win part of it. They want to be that demigod that brushes through the combats. And I remember specifically having a scenario where we failed our stealth checks and our checks for traps. And this was in the days of 3.5, like the height of 3.5. So you fail a stealth trap or you fail a stealth check, you fail a trap sense, you're not going to find it. And so all of a sudden the door starts closing. We're running around with the scepter and only the 2 fastest people make it because the room is like 60 feet from where we're at. And all of the chainmail fighters can't go that fast.
Oh, see, that's tough. But that's baked into the reality of the game, right? That gives the stakes that maybe you don't see on a normal basis.
Right. And it's good to remind them like, hey, you guys are adventurers. This is something that like, if you don't have dangers in this, you're a blacksmith. Like just, understand that portion of it. And I think what we've stepped away from in a lot of 5th edition and kind of moving forward is it's not lethal. Like when you compare it to like 1st edition,
that's
advanced D&D, it feels less lethal. But obviously being Dungeons and Dragons, you can absolutely change that tone.
Right. And what you said makes perfect sense too, Aaron. Like if you're going to go ahead and take a look at the less, like you said, less lethal, the concept can still be changed behind the screen. And that's where we get into the metagamers too. Those individuals need to understand just because you've read a book and you know that this should be resistant to poison, it doesn't mean what the DM is presenting you, which looks exactly the same, is going to have the same vulnerabilities. You know, not everybody is a hunter ranger where you can hunter's mark something and say, okay, there's your vulnerabilities, immunities, and resistances. That's not how it works. So those players are the ones that kind of take away from everybody else too, because it's like you don't need to know everything to be good at this game. There are two things I reward at my tables more than anything else: teamwork and ingenuity. If you can show me you can work as a team together, or you give me a cool way to do something, absolutely great. In one of the major quests I run in Westmarch, it's a 3-parter, and it finishes up on something called the Raid on the Ratican. It's the Holy Hand Grenade trilogy. There was a group of individuals, I'm not going to say names, Luis and Scott, that literally used a force wall at a 45-degree incline to have the rogue run up it to be able to get on top of the Shadow Dragon and just lay this thing out. So while they are destroying my best laid plans, I'm also cheering for them. And that's something SDG taught us as DMs too.
Yeah.
I'm your biggest adversary. I'm also your biggest cheerleader, guys. When
Right.
you do something cool back there, I mean, say right now, my arms, my hairs are standing up on my forearm. I love those moments. But at the same time, be that same player. If I put you unconscious, don't just, tweak down and start grumbling to yourself. Because in all honesty, for most D&D players, how many things have you killed before you finally ended up having to realize this?
Right. And I think it's like I said, I love the fact that we have the ability to like kill the players, right? There's obviously, being a dungeon master, you could do anything to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my biggest pet peeve is like you hear the dungeon masters that are just so far against their players. And it's like, this isn't a versus game. You're not about that. Like, you shouldn't be like your Shadow Dragon, for example. You probably put some time into, your Shadow Dragon, making sure the environment and the advantages were kind of against the players, but they weren't
Absolutely.
one-sided. It didn't shut down all of their magical abilities
Yep.
to where they can't move, or you didn't like bog them down with hundreds of enemies on top of it. You were just, this was the fight.
1,000%. And you know as well as I do. I mean, like I said, a Shadow Dragon gets you. I mean, it gets you. You drop 0 hit points after that Shadow Breath, you're a Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And we've even put mechanics in Westmarch to kind of help that a little bit too. We don't want to just outright kill someone. We've also got those situations where people are putting a lot of time into their characters. So what we put in was a mechanic called the Mausoleum of Transcendence. What happens here is we have an Archhag Mirror, way to go again, Luis, that actually gives vials out to our players. So should they actually have a permadeath moment, like becoming a shadow, the essence of the character is then drawn into that vial. And for a nominal fee of costs and materials, pretty massive depending on if you start getting to the higher levels in our game, they can be brought to the Mausoleum of Transcendence, and there is a random table they roll on, and it could give you positive or negatives, but you can be brought up once per tier back to life from even those permadeath moments.
That is absolutely that's insanely ingenuitive, because I have come with the, like, you have the resurrection spell if you guys can afford it, that's great. If you guys can't, sorry, but I also have because I run my own kind of world. I call it because I couldn't think of a name, so it's just UHM.
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
And so we have been running this game. Tyler's a part of it. And I think the biggest thing that we have is, I've told everyone, I was like, hey, roll 2 characters to start off with, just in case your first one gets kicked on that first couple missions, because we don't know what we're doing.
That's fair.
You have that extra backup. You can be like, okay, well, this is it. And luckily, we've had to the point where, like, we've had close calls, but we haven't had anyone, like, kick the bucket. I've even been like, yeah, you have a ring with you. It has 1 charge. You can pull back 1 person if they die.
Nice. Nice.
That's, but if 2 people die, you have to pick the one you want.
Oh,
So,
that's fair. That's fair.
you know,
Strahd vibes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Death House.
giving them the, it's the, it's the giving them the, like, the option. But I see my issue is that when I run into, like, these stories, these cringe stories, everything like that, it's easy to pick apart their flaws and their stuff. But when you look and you're like, shit, I made a bad call on your own games, it's rough. And that's what I think is, like, the people that I've met, like you, like Kat and everything like that, you say, even when you have a bad call, you guys kind of own up and kind of been like, well, actually we fix it. And so like this didn't happen. Or like you go back or you find a way to make it up. And I think that speaks volumes for the caliber of DM that we see.
Well, and and like you said, you have to be able to go back in retrospect. If you can't look in the mirror and find what you did wrong during that moment, then you're not looking at the entire perspective. And that's why when we do have some players that may be challenging and they'll say, hey, well, what about this? But then you got to go ahead and understand that's a snapshot in time. So what happened 5 minutes before? What happened 5 minutes after that? How did you contribute to this as well, too? Because if we're going to go ahead and find a way to fix the moment here, let's make sure we're working on both sides so we can work on the entire perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's nothing worse than feeling like you've been cheated. Like coming from a player aspect, if you feel like you've been cheated, you don't want to go back. Coming from a DM aspect, if you've cheated someone, it feels equally shitty because you're looking at that person who just was like very enthusiastic, and you took away their weapon that they worked hard for. You took away their item that they were like so stoked to use, and because it turned one of your combats sideways, it was like, oh, okay, well, shit.
And there's some. Oh.
No, go ahead.
And there's sometimes you've got to bow to the player too. It's like, look, when I say bow, I'm going to say, look, if you did such a great job that you were able to take this well thought out plan and literally just slam its face into the dirt ass up, what am I going to do? I'm going to be honest with you and be like, you did a great job. But at the same side, please give me the respect too of if something's happening in a way you may not like it, but this is just the dice telling a story. Don't get mad at the DM because in the long run, it's just collaborative storytelling.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're just throwing some math rocks on the ground at the same time.
That's such a fantastic segue because the other part I was going to talk about here was like the fudging of the numbers, like people who roll behind screens versus rolling in public. Oh, this is a hot button, huh?
We talked a little bit about this in the past. So look, I don't have a problem with a DM that rolls behind a screen versus doesn't, as long as you never put it in the monster's favor. If you're going to fudge a number, you better fudge it in the auspice of helping out your players. If you're the guy that gets behind a screen, and I might have seen this with some people before, I will never name names on this, where I'm just like, how you get so many crits in a row? Like, really? Like, and because we don't see it, that's something that modified my own DM style. So when I sit down, there's no screen in front of me anymore. One of my players, either my left or my right, sees my dice tray and they see every roll that comes out because I firmly believe the dice do tell a story.
Right, absolutely. And I'm the type I roll behind the screen. I firmly believe in that. Like, hey, you don't fudge yourself. Like, you're an all powerful god of the game. You don't need to fudge your numbers against your players. They already have enough against them.
Right.
And so even if and my players they'll never know. The only time that if I roll a crit, I lift my screen to show them, hey, this was a critical hit. Or if it's like, hey, this is gonna kill my party. Yeah, they rolled a 1. You guys got lucky.
And I don't even get to the story. Like, if I'm going to give something to the players, I just change it to a thematic moment. Like, if somebody gets to the point, like, say we're running a little short on time and my Shadow Dragon's at like 10 health left and somebody gets a great shot on him, I'm just going to go ahead and thematically turn that into something. Instead of saying, hey, you didn't roll any extra damage, it's like, I'm going to give you the kill and then here's the thematics. How do you do it? And let me go ahead and put that icing on top of the cake for you as well, too.
That is absolutely beautiful. So, oh man, there is so much to talk about here.
Can I chime in on one thing you said, though, too?
Absolutely.
But I will say this, and this is going to sound like I'm going to come off a little bit as an ass on this one, but if you have to cheat at a recreational game that we play for the sole purpose of enjoyment and de-stressing, then maybe you need to consider your own life.
Yeah. I say that a lot. I'm like, hey, first of all, it's make-believe with dice. If you are going to cheat, it's the equivalent of saying like, no, I'm lava-proof because I got boots. It's like, dude, stop.
Exactly. It's like, and the floor is lava now.
Yeah. So it's like, dude, stop. You're fine. Like, I don't think there's ever a reason to cheat at D&D. I don't think there's ever a reason to cheat your players, cheat like anybody along those lines. Because at the end of the day, it's like, you're not really winning anything.
You nailed it. I mean, this is all in our heads. This is our imagination. I mean, these are all just things that we are just aggregately playing together. But in the concept of, and I know that you saw my face when you talked cheating.
Oh, yeah.
Again, never on names, but when I have a player I have to talk to about something that they're cheating, and then they lie to me on something else to go ahead and continue the cheat, and then I have to call them on that, normally it ends with, I'm not dealing with you anymore. I'm not digging any deeper. And I mean, I've had this happen myself where I'm just like, I'm pretty much done with you now. Just understand this moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's at the end of the day, it's our table, it's our campaign.
1,000%. And I mean, being a human calculator too, look, I suck at spelling. I still have to say I before you accept after C when I'm doing receive in my head. But
I'm on the same length on that one, man.
But I'm a human calculator. So when somebody says, I'm going to change this stat, well, how'd you get to this stat? Well, because this stat was this stat. Well, then why are your hit points so high? And it's like, because that wouldn't happen now if these were the stats you started with. And it's like, and you can see that moment of,
right.
It's like, really? Now I understand a lot of the people that do cheats because they just don't want to look like they're failing. Well, part of the collaborative storytelling is that cool moment where you fail.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm going to dump your head into the abyss.
It's that part of the book where it's like, this is the part of the hero's journey where they have hit a spot where they have to try harder to succeed.
1,000%. Just looking at Vox Machina. And again, I didn't really watch the campaign that Mercer ran with all of them and such. Just on the cartoon alone, the ups and downs are what make them who they are. So when you had everybody, especially at the height of its power, which I mean, it's still strong now, but the height of its power, it was like, we want to be Vox Machina. Well, you want to look at what they had to go through to get there? Right. I mean, if that cleric loses contact with their deity and doesn't have their spells anymore, you're going to have a player most times at the table complaining for a session or two instead of realizing this arc might be something even better for you in the long run.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. So that being the case, this is the wrap up point. I just want to thank you for coming out, Fred. It's been an absolute pleasure having you. It's been super fun.
Thank you so much, Aaron, and Ty as well. I'll tell you what, we had some great conversation before we even started. Maybe next time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll get it on. We'll get it on our gag reels.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it has been an absolute pleasure, and I couldn't thank you more.
No, it's been a pleasure having you. So this has been another fantastic episode of Our Corner. I've been the host, Aaron. With me today has been my man,
the Goblin enthusiast, Fred. Remember to go to SDG and buy stuff. That should get me at least 4 more months of free membership.
We'll see you guys next time on Our Corner.
All right. Have a good one, guys.